Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Thanks for tuning in for another episode. Today I want to talk about some baits that I think could be major players in 2025. I'm doing a lot of prep here for the upcoming season, getting things ready, and unfortunately, it just seems like everything wants to steer you right towards a jig head and a minnow. If you're a tournament angler, it's hard not to utilize forward-facing sonar's abilities because of the fact of how good it is. And a jig head and a minnow is proven at this point to be one of the best presentations. However, guys, I truly believe there's a lot of baits that have been around for a long period of time that have yet to be unlocked with both forward-facing sonar and not forward-facing sonar. And I think there's a lot of value in looking at some of these older baits going, man, where can I apply this? And is it applicable with today's fishing forward-facing sonar scene or not with forward-facing sonar? And as a tournament angler, I'm always trying to find the latest and the best things, but a lot of times that logic is applied to older baits that have been washed up and not really utilized as well as they should. And in this case, getting ready for this upcoming season, I felt like I have a couple of baits here that just have not been fully unlocked with today's current bass fishing times. And I think they could be major underdogs for this upcoming season. I think they could be truly fantastic baits if somebody wants to commit to using them. And from that standpoint, I just think they are underdogs that could be major players. So let's just jump right into these baits. And I'll put links for each of these. I've got 3 of them today that I'm going to have rigged up going to my first tournament of the year. But I'll put links for these in the video description so you guys can check them out for yourself. I'm excited to get out there and just give them a little bit more time than I feel like I personally have the last couple of years. But I think they could be extremely good. So the first one here with the sharp little hooks is the Realis Spin. So it's a tail spinner. The tail spinner has been around for an extremely long period of time. I don't know who came out with the first one. I don't know if it was Mann's, but I mean, it's been out for, at this point, probably 75 years. The thing is, it was extremely effective pre-forward-facing sonar times, and I think it has not been tapped with current forward-facing sonar. And I also feel like the fact that a lot of the forward-facing sonar anglers are out there looking for your suspended fish, well, the tail spinner gives you a really good opportunity at getting some of those truly deep fish that I think a lot of forward-facing sonar anglers are not even looking for. And at the same time, if you do find some fish on forward-facing sonar that are deeper, the tail spinner is a great way to get you down and present the bait to those fish that are down deep. But for me, it's one of those baits that just excels in your cold water periods. If you got some fish sitting down in drains, you got some fish that are feeding on bait fish, very effective and efficient bait for fishing some of your deeper suspended fish, for fishing some of your deeper water fish that are on the bottom. Overall, great bait. And I know there are a lot of guys down on some of your Texas reservoirs right now, like Sam Rayburn, where I'm headed to, that are catching them very good on this specific bait right here. Again, it's the Realis Spin. I'll put links for each one so you guys can check them out. But I think a tail spinner has, at some point, somebody is going to take an old school bait like a tail spinner and win a national level tournament with it. It's just a matter of what bait and when is it going to happen. But I think some of your cold water tournaments that are kicking off the year, it could be one of those baits. The next up, we've got this guy right here. This is your spy bait. This is the Berkeley Spy, which is one of the better ones on the market, in my opinion. And I'm really confused as to why the spy baits have not excelled with forward-facing sonar. I mean, these baits are made to be fished horizontal in the water column for a lot of your suspended fish. You can stop them. They shimmy on the fall. You can basically keep them at the right level. And now all of a sudden you throw in forward-facing sonar where you can see exactly where the fish are. this is one of those baits that you can present almost perfectly. And yet we're not hearing much about it. And I know for a fact that there are a lot of top name pros that are catching them on this, but it's not gone mainstream yet. And I think 2025 might be the year where we see baits like the Berkeley Spy catch on fire. We'll see. I think it could be a really good one. The last one I want to talk about, again, really old school bait that just, it seems like it fades away and then comes back. Fades away and comes back. And that's your tube. This is a little guy. This is a little 2.5 power bait Maxent Tube, which is one of my favorites for smallmouth, but not just the small little 2.5s, your 3.5, 4-inch. Tube is one of the most versatile baits out there. For a lot of the guys that are out there looking to try to reduce the amount of tackle that they need to carry, a tube is one of the best baits that you should have in your arsenal, because you can flip them, you can put them on a wobble head, you can use them as a chatterbait trailer, you can put them on a drop shot, you can put a jig head in it and use it as an actual tube. So many different ways to fish a tube, and it's kind of just getting washed away again. It's ridiculous to me how these baits continue to come and go. One of the keys to a tube, though, is just the overall shape and the movement in the water. It is one of the most naturally moving baits that we have. If you let it fall on a slack line, it generally wants to spiral. If you let it fall on a semi-tight line, the bait will want to glide and kind of move like it's swimming towards the bottom. You can fish them in extremely deep water. You can fish them in really shallow water. You can fish them fast. You can fish them slow. It's one of the most versatile soft plastics we have. And I just feel like it's on the verge again of popping off. And I think all it takes is one good tournament victory to make it happen. And when I look at the overall schedule of all the major trails this year, there are a lot of fisheries that either could have it work from a shallow flipping standpoint, from a smallmouth standpoint, from a stroking the tube on a ledge standpoint. There's a lot of different areas where I feel like a tube could be a major player. And I expect in 2025 for it to potentially make a pretty good underdog story of the year. So those are 3 baits that I'm expecting to do well in 25. I shouldn't say expecting. I think they are so close. It just takes somebody to go out there and crack a tournament win with it to show how good it is, because there are a lot of people using these. So let me know in the comment section, what are some of the baits that you think could be a good underdog player of the year for 2025? I'd love to know and hear from you guys as well. Otherwise, stay tuned. We've got a new video coming out tomorrow. Like and subscribe if you have not. And thank you again for the support that you give me on a regular basis.